This is your chance to get behind the wheel. The opportunity to race just like the pros. From the grassroots level, where we all got our start, the most popular from the fairgrounds of Nashville to the high banks of Daytona, to tracks that will never be forgotten. Realistic driving, intense competition, all from the comfort of your own home. This is the ultimate motorsports simulation. This is iRacing.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up to him.
Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get involved.
Second very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go.
Oh no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?
Welcome everyone back to SimSpeed TV, and well, not my usual job on a Tuesday night when it comes to commentating here with the broadcast, but this is unfortunately what happens pulling double duty a little bit tonight, as it's time for the final round after 20 rounds of racing action here for the 6th season of the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup. My name is Daniel Yeaman. Jay Kennedy going to be alongside me tonight with production and commentary double duties as well. My other job tonight, Jay, usually is series administration, but well, unfortunately Reese Gardner unable to join us as he usually would, and I'm sure Reese would be gutted. He can't be here to commentate this one tonight because while two of our drivers' championships and our team's championship have been tied up nice and early, that is to say both our Pro Class Championship and our AM Class Championship are now all settled and sorted. We do have ourselves the Pro-Am Drivers' Championship. It's come down all the way to the very end of the season's action, and it will be concluded here tonight. And just 24 points in it on the way coming in here between our top two, who are likely going to be the ones to fight it out here.
Yeah, hello everyone. It's going to be an exciting end of the season. As you said, two drivers in it for contention in the Pro-Am. Bo Albert sealed the Pro division. Nicholas Garrett has sealed the Am division, but the Pro-Am division has been hotly contested between Simon Mazzomo and Tyson Broad for the entirety of the championship season. So to see it finish at the last round in the last race of the season, highly appropriate, and what a track to finish it on. Sandown. First time we've raced here in these cars on the newly added Sandown circuit. We don't need a track map to explain it, but I mean, we've got to have one and have a look at this absolutely amazing piece of bitumen in Melbourne.
We do indeed. One of the later additions to iRacing content just this year, as we expand what's available as part of the Australian and soon to be also New Zealand motorsport circuits of, well, legend and fame here in this part of the world. And oh yeah, Sandown International Motor Raceway, technically at least that's what its full name is, the home of horsepower. And well, yeah, surrounding the Sandown Horse Racecourse here, just southeast of Melbourne by about 20 odd kilometers from the center of Melbourne's CBD here, Jay. And yeah, two drag strips pretty much up the front, down the back, and the blaster up from turn 1 to turn 4 there. Plenty of high curbs to negotiate in these cars here, and the run down the hill from turn 6 to turn 9 into Dandenong Road. Going to be a fearsome bit of track and one to watch out for. Great overtaking potential down there, of course, but also high risk, which means you could easily see drivers getting it a little bit wrong and going off the road, either to the inside or down out into the kitty litter at the bottom of turn 9 to boot.
Yeah, so turn 1, turn 4, turn 9, the key overtaking opportunities, but we're going to see some side-by-side into turn 6, 7, 8 as well. Of course, this circuit opened back in the 60s, and they did adjust it to this layout in the 80s. They also added an inner loop, which was completely removed in about 1999 because the drivers absolutely detested it. They said it was the most horrible bit of road addition to any racetrack in Australia, so they got rid of it at exactly the same time as they added the extra bit of racetrack at Winton, which I found rather ironic that they took one infield away but added an extension at a different Aussie track at exactly the same time. This is the championship we were talking about, though, so 330 points maximum up for grabs. Bell Albert can't be beaten. Nicholas Garriott can't be beaten, but Mazomo, Broad, Shepherd, 1, 2, 3 in Pro-Am, 6, 7, 8 overall. They're still fighting for these championship positions. It's between Mazomo and Broad. Basically, whoever finishes the highest is going to win the championship. It's a little bit more involved than that, but it's pretty much how it's going to play out.
Yeah, it is. Dylan Shepherd has been on good form in this back half of the season, but unfortunately not been able to attend all of the rounds this year due to the fact that he does work on a real-life Porsche Cup car amongst a few others, thanks to his job as a mechanic and engineer with one of the real-life teams here in Australia. So he is an outside chance to win. He's 259 points behind Tyson Broad, who himself is only 24 behind Simon Zoma. So indeed, realistically, eyes are on that 954 and 27 cars to sort things out there as to who walks away with the title. And indeed, it mostly comes down to who finishes first on the road. But we will go over, I think, during the course of the broadcast, Jay, some of the potential variables there as to who comes out on top, because there are a few ways in which that championship might be decided.
Yeah, exactly right. There's a little bit more to it than just winner takes all, but that's the easiest way to look at it. Whoever finishes higher between the two, if there's a noticeable difference between the two, that pretty much seals the championship as done. So we get our first look at drivers out on the circuit. This is Isaac Edwards. Nice little kick out of the rear. That's not usually the fast way to go around the final corner. It will ruin the next lap as well, but currently sits in 4th in this session. Got Corey Lazarus in P1, Nicholas Garriott in 2nd. No surprise to see him up the top of the AM field, but a decent turnout of AM drivers. We're back up to 8 again. We've had a couple of rounds where we've only been at 5 or 6, but Sandown has definitely brought out a few extra names, extra drivers, because it is one of the more popular circuits that has been released on iRacing for quite a long time.
Yeah, you're not wrong there at all. As our first group tonight is actually purely AM class drivers who do have it set up such that some of the Pro-Ams based on championship standings are instructed to be out here in Group 1 tonight, but as it stands, we don't have all that many Pro-Ams, so we sort of gained in the AM class tonight, Jay, somewhat, but have sort of traded away a bit of the Pro-Ams who usually made up the bulk of the field. Alas, though, over 20 cars out in the circuit tonight is going to be a healthy representation of a spread, I'd have to say, so looking forward to seeing how the action goes. So almost 10 minutes into qualifying now as well, on board with Isaac Edwards in number 15 for ICT Marketing Race on Oz, and unfortunately he will peel off into the pit lane just as we are checking in with him there, so don't get a chance to see how things go. What we will do here though is pick up your Season 6 AM Class Champion-elect Nicholas Garriott here, one of the two Garriott Booth Motorsports entries. These boys have been on fire, Jay, all season long himself, primarily as a solo driver, taking that AM class by storm this season, but also his teammate Cole Booth, meaning these two guys, when it comes to teams pairings, have been far and away quite competitive despite being an all-AM lineup. They currently sit 5th in the team standings coming into tonight, and they have a chance at stealing away 4th if their race goes the way they'd like by the course at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's a pretty good effort considering they're both AM drivers to be that high in the team's championship. But they've both been very, very consistent, and they've both scored points pretty much every round. They haven't had too many completely horrible results, and they've capitalised on their bad rounds, still scoring good points. So good to see these two fight it out, and no doubt that we'll see them both, I'm guessing, stepping up to Pro-Am next season. Definitely Garriott has been very, very quick in amongst the Pro-Ams in quite a few rounds, so we are interesting to see. This lap here looks like he's on for a personal best. His current best is a 108.1, so we'll see what he can do here. I think he might get into the 107s looking at the pace he's got.
So 3 sectors here at Sandown. Brings it round off of turns 12 and 13 here to the line. He will come in the 66. And indeed, Jay, spot on estimation. He will jump to the top of the group on a 107.907. That is now the benchmark time to beat among these AM class drivers. As it'll be 66 leads number 44 of Corey Lazarus, then the 369 of Javin Wood, who is second in that AM class and currently runs third in the session. Then Isaac Edwards there in fourth. Jump on down to P7. We find David Leslie here in the 666 for After Dark Sim Racing.
That's wide.
Unfortunately for Leslie, that's too hot through turn 12 there, Jay. That will compromise the run on this lap, and also a new lap here as well, quite significantly. So looks to keep his foot in it here down the front stretch, but he'll have to try again another time soon, as another driver looks to be on a decent lap so far. Dean Landy, apologies, here in the 416 personal best sector 1 as he makes his way up towards sector 2.
Yep, hit the sector 2 split there, down a tiny little bit, but it's not completely horrible. So he's still looking quite competitive on this lap. He did struggle to pull it up at Dandenong Road, turn 9, but he did get it there. And interesting too that Kyle Booth has jumped ahead of Isaac Edwards into 4th position as well. So Booth has been quick on the times over the last couple of minutes. Not many minutes left in this session. I believe 13.5 minutes from memory, Dan, for each driver in this session.
Yes, that is correct. We'll be getting a warning from race control in about 10 seconds time. And then checkered flag will fly with 16.5 minutes remaining in this session here for the first group tonight, since the lap times are fairly short. There we go, confirmation in the in-game text chat at least. The 2 minutes warning has been issued by race control, which is usually me here on a Tuesday night with this series, Jay, but I have had to entrust that to fellow race controller and series administrator Tom Wilkinson, all things text and voice chat. Due to the fact I'm here tonight, giving the comms for the action. But, well, if there is one person I trust to take care of race control matters for this series, it would most certainly be Tom. Can't do this series without him when it comes to getting these race nights done, whilst I'm handling the majority of the pre- and post-race administration. Having someone else in live race control, at the very least, to be able to discuss and adjudicate penalties with is critical, but also being able to take some of the extra tasks like in-game message prompts off my hands whilst I'm doing in-game voice chat at least. Most certainly a big thanks to him for his continued support of the series and here and just working with me to help make this series possible.
Isaac Edwards just sets his fastest time of the night, 108.4, but not enough to gain a position. He still needs to find 1.5 tenths get back ahead of Kyle Booth. And I just want to say, before we get into towards the end of the broadcast where we do the thank yous, I'm going to do them now. Big thanks to you, Dan, and also to Tom for your hard work behind the scenes as well for this series, and also to Reese and Nick, who were here for the start of the season but haven't been able to be here for the end of the season. Thank you for your help throughout as well. I know Reese is devastated he can't be here tonight, but Nick will be back on Thursday nights for the GT3s. But it's been a really fun season the whole way through. It's been difficult with how long it's been, but it's been highly entertaining the whole way through. So thanks, boys, Dan, Tom, for your help, and also to Reese and Nick for their help in comms throughout the season.
The checkered flag will fly here for Group 1, and it looks like Dean Landy in the 416 is going to sneak through as the last car across the line in time. Isaac Edwards is the first there who's going to get through with the checkered flag. Unfortunately, a 108.7 there, Jay, for Isaac. Will not be an improvement there for the end of his session. It'll be there. Now keep our eyes back to the next on-road. Carl Booth, the 110. Second of the Garrett Booth Motorsports entries. Unfortunately, it's going to be the next car to go wide at the final corner there. And around off the line, unfortunately, means he will not get an improvement on this lap. Javin Wood actually tried to get out of the way there for a second, I think, but unfortunately dives back into pit lane and aborts his run there. He will be P3 in class at the end of Group 1. And of course, Booth brings his car to lane. It looks like all of our AM class drivers wrapping that one up nice and early here in Group 1 to give us a chance to go through the provisional results so far.
Yep, so Nick Garrett, the fastest in Group 1. He will be on pole for the AM class drivers with a 107.9. That's a very, very competitive lap time. Very, very good job by him. We've got Corey Lazarus second, Javin Wood in third, Cole Booth in fourth, Isaac Edwards, Dean Landy, David Leslie, and Patrick Harding. Not too bad to see the top 6 separated by only 0.6 of a second in AM. often see a little bit more of a spread in the AM class, but that's pretty good for tonight.
It sure is, and I think it's a credit to the drivers who have been able to work on their experience and skills in the car here in this one over the course of the season. And we'll just take a quick chance to have a look here at what we've got up for this one here tonight. It's the final round of the season. It's our third and final miniature endurance race. 60 minutes time certain for this one. We're expecting a pit stop thanks to the fact these cars are capped on their fuel tanks. And now the second group in qualifying has been released from the pit lane. This is the big one, of course. All of our Pro Class drivers, and as it so happens tonight, Jay, all of our Pro-Am drivers in attendance means that the track's going to be a fair bit busier here. Space on the road is going to be at a premium by lots of things. At the same time, though, slipstream is going to be what you're going to want to try and get your hands on to maximise those straight line speeds.
I think there's going to be a little bit of teamwork going on here. There's going to be drivers that will try and work together and try and help each other out. Maybe drivers that don't normally work together will end up having to work together just by association. So it's going to be an interesting little mini session here with 14 minutes to go as they come to start their flying laps. We'll see how things do play out. A few drivers on Zoom as well, so we'll try and feature a couple of those during this qualifying session.
Look forward to bringing those pictures to you over the course of this evening. And first up, it's going to be the man who holds second place in the Pro Class Championship, Matt Bowler here. Number 12, having settled in an Evolution Racing team after starting out the year in Pursuit Sim Racing colours, sojourn to join Visceral Esports through the mid part of the year. Just like striking red and black paint adorn the number 12, but coming back to Australian-based team here with Evolution and really good to see that Bowler's listening in tonight, and well, good luck tonight, mate. Unfortunately, lost the chance to fight for the Pro Class Championship after Bo Albert's just completely dominant run, all things considered, and relatively speaking, even though I'd have to say Bowler did a really solid job this year, and just maybe took him a little bit of time to warm up at the start, Jay, but has come on strong in these past couple of rounds. Also now sporting a slightly new liquor paint on this ERT Porsche here. He's going to get his first flying lap on the books here. To the line we come, and it will be in the 107s as well. Well, 107.345 will be, no, 429, apologies, is immediately eclipsed by Kobe Williams and Robbie Gibbs behind as they get their first laps coming in here now.
Yep, so Gibbs, the pace setter at the moment. Kobe Williams in second. Hayden Veld in third. Now, he's been really complaining about his confidence in the Porsche. He's been like, can't drive this track in the Porsche. Well, that qualifying time probably doesn't really correlate with what he's been saying throughout the night.
Yeah, it is good to see Hayden back out on track. Has been rather busy when it comes to sim racing aspirations, and he's also paying attention to the live stream tonight as, one of Bud's more recent acquisitions, shall we
I'm
say.
a bit worried about the baby being choked, though. I mean, one thing to have a baby there, but...
Choking hazard not as obvious as may seem.
Okay. It still looks pretty bad.
Pretend it doesn't exist, and apparently we're all good. As, we'll have eyes on that over the course of the season. As one of the drivers who's also back here to wrap up the season tonight, speaking opposite sim racing earlier with Matt Bowler, Joe Stewart and Blake Purdy both in attendance for the PSR outfit here to cap things off. As the 35 machine was very strong in practice, have to say, Jay. We'll check to see what Joe Stewart can do. A 107.213 will put him provisionally P3 for now. Pole position, though, in the hands of Kobe Williams with a second flying lap just in the books of a 107.0. We are almost into the 106 bracket that was actually breached in practice earlier on. But I'll have to see if that can be recreated here in qualifying conditions. Eyes on one of our two Pro-Am Championship contenders here. Simon Zomo, the 954 championship leader, coming into tonight's standings thanks to the points that we can bring to you live during the race and also qualifying. Top three in the session outright will score points, Jay, but therefore we're expecting that both of our two championship competitors here, Zomo and Tyson Broad, won't be getting a chance, unfortunately they might say, to score those points, but we'll be able to keep a tab on them during the course of the race tonight.
Well, stranger things have happened. I mean, Hayden Veld's sitting in fourth, so there's not it's not completely out of the realms of possibility that one of our Pro Am drivers does finish in that top 3 in qualifying. So keep an eye on that, as Kyle Zink was on for a really good lap right up until that point there. He was looking very, very strong. Personal best sectors 1 and 2, but he's definitely ruined it there at the exit of Dandenong Road, turn 9. Gonna have to start another lap, you would guess. Interesting thinking, talking to a few drivers earlier around whether you do short stints. He's still actually done a PB on that lap, even with that huge slide, so I think does improve. Around whether you do long stints, short stints, whether you do a few laps on the tyres, whether you only do one flying lap on the tyres. There's lots of different thinking around the strategy on how you do tyre stints and things like that.
Yeah, it has been true. We've seen, as you said, a lot of different variation when it comes to drivers and the way that they're getting the qualifying times out of the car and how they can approach the qualifying session. It is great to see that despite the fact this is meant to be a spec racing series, as it were. I mean, there is a little bit of driver setup flexibility provided in these cars, but mostly limited to just roll bars and ride heights, as well as the fuel levels, short up to the limited maximum that we've set. Yeah, we are seeing variation in how best to get the speed out of the cars. We jump on board here with Ben Johnson in the 727 machine. One of the Drop Bear Motorsport entries tonight will be, he's actually teammates for the team standings with Tyson Broad, as he goes across the line there to do a 108.3, which was not quite, actually, pardon me, 108.40 last time around. Not
Yeah,
quite
just away from his personal best. Yeah, just missed it. So Blake Purdy's on a very good lap here at the moment, so we could see Purdy jump up the timing sheet. Kobe Williams also has set a very, very good first sector on this lap he's on too. Actually, he's just ruined it just as I put him, talked him up. But Blake Purdy does improve, jumps up into 5th. Top 6 separated by a quarter of a second.
Great to see once again, despite
Oh,
the
Robbie
multi-class
Gibbs.
competition, as Robbie Gibbs does another big moment off of turn 4 here. The curb's very inviting at Sandown if you want to try and get your hands on them here, but that also means a lot of risk coming with the chance at, or as I just said, Dylan Shepard absolutely bounce off the outside curb and fly into the inner fence on the exit of turn 1. We've got cars going left, right, and center as everyone's trying to extract the absolute maximum in a single lap around here tonight to get those grid spots as best as they can.
One thing I'm a little bit surprised by, I mean, I'm not surprised that someone's, or they've pushed the limit, but how much they're cutting the corner, the curb at turn 9, and actually using the inside of the curb to basically pull them around the corner. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout the night, but Fashion Flux used that to his advantage. He's improved his time. That does not improve his position. Have a look at the gap for P1, P2 at the moment. Literally nothing.
A single millisecond. According
doesn't matter
to
now. Job Stewart's just smashed them all.
Indeed, he has a 106.766, and it actually goes faster than his practice time, so he extends the margin he had over the field in practice with that number there. Obviously, you can see here working together with teammate Blake Purdy to maximise time, so it looks like if the Pit X is anything to go by here, it'll be Job's turn to tow round Blake and try and bring him up the order some as well. But yeah, well, we were just saying how the top 5, top 6 were nice and close together there. What that has now done is blow open the margins there. Although everyone obviously still nice and close together, it's now got a 3/10 gap to overcome there up the very top of the tower.
Kobe Williams, we haven't seen all the way through the season. We've seen him for a good portion, but not every round. But good to see him back once again. Now privateer after the surprising news of Vendaval Sim Racing deciding to fold as opposed to change ownership or reform or do something. It's very, very surprising that such a strong name within the world sim racing community has decided to park the car for the for life, essentially. But good to see Kobe back out there as a privateer and still running in the series.
Yeah, it's been a couple of rounds since we've seen Kobe out on track here with us on a Tuesday. Indeed, no longer in the blue, black and white of Vendaval Sim Racing now. Going back to his personal privateer colour of offensively bright green. I should note. And it's about everywhere he could put it on the car to boot, as well as checking back in with the ERT duo of Matt Bowler and Robbie Gibbs, lined up nose to tail at the moment. And
Bowler
looks like,
improved.
yeah, Bowler improving. No, Bowler's not quite. 107.25 last lap around. For what I'm seeing, at least.
Bowler's improved on the last one, 107.185.
He did indeed. Okay, so it looks like my... Yeah,
Cameron Dance is on a new
My
personal
apologies,
best here too.
I was looking at Robbie Gibbs, who was ahead of him in the timing tower, but didn't improve on his previous laps. That would do it for me there, as Cameron Dance will come to the line to a 104.478 there. That gets him into P9, pardon me, P8 outright, 7th in class. But still Hayden Veld, top of the Pro-Am sheets, and top 5 outright still. And crucially also, Jake, 3/10 clear of anyone else in class.
Blake Purdy's just jumped up into position number 5 as well, so that pushes Veld now back to 6th position. But Mazzomo still leading Broad, but they're going to start side by side. So if you wanted the perfect way to wrap up the championship, having your 2 championship contenders starting side by side is about as perfect as you would want. Dylan Shepherd improves on his personal best and will slot up and separate those two. Now Mazzomo and Broad start nose to tail.
There we go. No surprise there. Dylan Shepherd also getting the pace together here as qualifying is approaching its close. We've got just over 2 minutes remaining. We'll get a warning from race control in about 15 odd seconds now or so. That drivers have 2 minutes left to get their laps in. Well, actually, though, in hindsight, I've just realised this is the one of 3 servers this year that doesn't have a hard cutoff in qualifying. Probably didn't need to give the drivers a cutoff like we usually do, but my brain was on autopilot tonight, preparing all of the pre-race briefing notes for the drivers and therefore also race control. Because I might even just send a counter order in about a second here. Actually, no, the warning hasn't gone out from race control, so I'm going to leave it be, and basically we'll let the timer run out here tonight, because when the timer hits 0, any drivers on a lap will get a chance to complete their lap, as unfortunately for Robbie Gibbs, he's just had to abort that one there, running far too wide at the top of the hill, which is turn number 6 here, and thankfully able to stay out of the way of anyone else on the lap as they can get into Dandenong Road. Aiden Coote just behind, though. He's going to find the rear step out and around, and the 066. Nice little flick spin, thankfully off the racing line to boot as well there, whilst also having a clear bit of track to do so at the same time.
Bowler will cross the line, and that is not quite a personal best. He's missed out by 9 thousandths of a second on his best lap, so he'll have to keep going to try and find a little bit of extra time. Aiden Coote was on for a very good lap then too, so I'll be disappointed that he spun it at Dandenong Road. Can't see too much lighting up the timing sheet at the moment. Everyone's sort of just sitting, watching, waiting, and trying to work out when, as that's Bowler in the wall. He's got one chance to get back out and potentially have one run at it. So we'll see what he does and how he goes about it. Job Stewart is now about to start. He's actually doing multiple laps here just to help his teammate in Blake Purdy, who also is doing multiple laps. So it doesn't look like they're going to try and push the boundaries and push the timing sheet too much. So they're just out there doing a little bit of race prep now.
Yeah, that might just be the case. I'm just confirming and just advising everyone that they can run it out to the flag, given that the fact that we don't have the hard cutoff for this one here. So it's all going to be down to where you place yourself on the road, and see who will be the one across the line last in time. Stewart leads Purdy around the little kink that counts as turn 13. This is going to be their final chance to improve the session, improve their times here, and unfortunately,
That gives away that they're not going to.
Is going to make that run. They will pull over and end their runs there. Let's see here, Hayden Veld still sitting P6, has got a couple of pros behind him, still will do a 107.240.
Oh, close to his best.
Was his best. Unfortunately, though, for him, it's not netted a gain in positions on the starting grid for this one here, as he then vaults it over the curb, and that will mean this attempt here will not count. So that is his session done. P6 will be the best he starts tonight. Now let's see here, is anyone still on track? We've got Robbie Gibbs, Matthew Bowler, Sebastian Flock and Aiden Coote. All that remain, Coote and Gibbs are not going to get to the line, so this is it for them as Coote up over the curb at 12 is going to thankfully be off to the side of the road there and be able to pull straight to the pit lane. Robbie Gibbs, one final time around. Unfortunately for him, the lap did not count, so he is done. Best he will be is P3, unless Matthew Bowler, his teammate here, can pull him out of that spot and switch them around here, Jay.
Yep, and Bowler will be the last car to do a lap as well. So get the grid after this lap from Matthew Bowler. Can he improve? It doesn't look like it's absolutely amazing on the timing sheet, but tell you what, he's pulled it all out in that last sector, didn't he? Absolutely beautiful last sector. Jumps up to P2, bringing into the lap.
There it was indeed. Nice tight run out of turn 12. Minimize the run to the line in terms of actual, well, I'd say physical distance, but it's technically virtual distance here tonight on the sim. But that does indeed mean we can walk you through the qualifying results and therefore the grid for this, the final round of the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup for season number 6. Job Stewart, indeed untouched tonight there in practice and in qualifying, does take final pole position honours for this season. He'll be joined though on that road by that final time from Matt Bowler. Good enough for second. Kobe Williams going to start out tonight in third. He's got Robbie Gibbs alongside him. They are still split by, on my iRacing end, 2 milliseconds. We see here just the 1 between them for that second row in this one. It'll be Blake Purdy out of P5 with Hayden Veld, our best Pro-Am driver tonight, in position number 6. Well, then be Sebastian Flock and Cam Dance, who also, by the way, Jay, they're fighting over 4th in the... Robbie Gibbs and Sebastian Flock fighting over 4th in the championship. So might want to keep our eyes on the ERT duo there over the course of the race. Then we can turn our attention to the Pro-Am drivers who start to make up the next drivers on the grid. Your championship protagonists, Simon Zomo and Tyson Bull, will indeed start side by side here. Jay, it'll be Dylan Shepherd, our third driver, also in with a chance at the title, starting just behind in P11. Aiden Coote will be the next driver in position number 12 to round out the top half of the field.
Yeah, from there we've got Nicholas Garrich, the leader in AM, starting next to Ben Johnson in Pro-Am, Corey Lazarus and Kyle Zink on row number 8, Javin Wood and Kyle Booth on row number 9. 10th row will be Isaac Edwards in Landy. Then we've got David Leslie and Patrick Harding. I'm pretty sure the guy in the 00 is not racing. Neither is the 000. Hopefully we don't need the safety car out on the track tonight, but never say never in races like this, because strange things can and often will happen.
Yeah, you can say that there indeed. Unfortunately, I had the retirement of just been advised of a late withdrawal for Corey Lazarus. Jay, unfortunately, family emergency means we won't see him on the grid. So after qualifying P2 and therefore P15 on the grid for this one, unfortunately that will be I won't be able to get a chance to see him out on track tonight. But hopefully all is well with him in his family in due course. But here are some of the drivers who we do have the Zoom feed from tonight. In your top left, Hayden Veld with Bonus Baby in the background. Top right, Cameron Dance, also with a Bonus Beer in hand. Matt Bowler, bottom left. There, we'll be checking in with him over the course of the night. Indeed, no biggest fan in the background of Bowler's one there, unfortunately. And bottom right, Isaac Edwards in the number 15 machine. That's going to be just in time for the lights to start coming up here for the grid. The revs will rise here for the final start in the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup for season number 6. We're underway here from Sandown, and it looks like it might just be Job Stewart to get the run to the line. Well, Matt Bowler to run to turn 1 here on the outside, but Stewart will cover the inside here as we go 3 wide further on back. Yeah,
beautiful start too. It looks like we're going to get through turn 1 relatively okay, and yes, Stewart will maintain the advantage, but Bowler is right there. Purdy and Veld having a tight little tussle out of turn 3 and into 4, but they get through okay with a little bit of argy-bargy. Looks like we're going to get through A-OK. The battle between Mazomo and Broad. Well, Mazomo's lost 2 spots. Broad is through. Mazomo has dropped back to 12th. But we know that Mazomo is not too bad in the overtaking department. He's already side by side here with Dylan Shepherd.
It's going to be dicey here to turn 6 on the outside for the first time. Shepherd late on the brakes there will hold that inside ground there as we then wind down the hill. 7 and 8, the little flicks there to make up a little chicane S's run. And then turn 9, Dandenong Road, that left-hander there where curbs are in plenty there. Cameron Dance slow there on the right side of the circuit, but no signs of a slowdown there. I don't think he will slot back into position number 9 there in the number 6 machine as they make their way down the front stretch. So first lap successfully navigated, all clean up and down the field. As you can see here, your ERT, Gio, Bowler and Gibbs all over the rear bumper of Stewart here, but not close enough to make a dive here into turn number 1.
No move done at this stage, so that's a positive to see. But yes, it's actually a little shocking that we've been so clean for the start of this race. I thought we may have had a small issue throughout. Now I'm just trying to get the live points working. You see it coming up on screen, not working. So we're going to have an interesting end to the night with not knowing 100%. We'll get the calculator out throughout, and we'll keep you updated on how that championship situation sits as the night progresses. But this lead group of 4 starting to break away from that next group behind Blake Purdy and Hayden Veld's little battle is costing them a little bit of time to the rest of the cars around.
It is indeed. Top 4 are indeed starting to jet away here as Hayden Veld continues to keep Blake Purdy honest here through the last couple of turns here. You can see some drivers taking a bit of the apex curve there at turn 12, others making sure they steer clear and get the power down as cleanly as they can. We're going to jump on board with number 43, Dylan Shepherd, in between the, well, this is the championship fight here, just that he's currently sandwiching in the sandwich of P1 and P2. At this stage, Mazomo not opting to fight it here into turn number 1. Shepherd, though, will show a half a nose there on the Tyson. Well, that's Nicholas Garrioch around in the background there, the 66. As, oh my goodness, Ben Johnson as well, and the 727 has gotten involved somehow in all of that one there. So, okay, it took 2 full laps and a corner to get some drama, but first chance to now go back in a moment and see what has caused all of that to occur there at turn number 1 as we check back in with this Pro-Am fight in and around position number 10 outright on the road so far.
Yeah, I thought that we were about to see potentially an overtake, but didn't happen in the end there. Actually, right on cue, they do go side by side, but if we can pick up this replay. Here we go. Yeah, let's see what happened here. This is a interesting little incident, this one. I don't know whether there's been contact or whether these two, and also we saw Kyle Booth follow that same move. Has there been an issue that's brought contact here? I'm thinking yes. But just watch here too. All of a sudden see Kyle Booth come, well, I'll come and join you boys out there.
Yeah, unfortunately there, Ben Johnson, a fraction too late on the brakes. It seems the slightest of love taps to the rear of Nicholas Garrioch. Sees both cars wide and parked up there on the outside of turn 1, and indeed Kyle Booth not that far off at becoming a bit of a crazy place with 3 cars entangling out there. Back to live pitch as we go, and back in eyes on this fight here for 10th outright on the road. Dylan Shepherd looking nice and close here up the back stretch, but not close enough. He'll try and set up the run down through turns 6, 7, 8 here to turn number 9. And you can see here he's getting a better turn-in angle, it would seem, Jay, but not quite. He just needs another half car length, which is kind of hard to actually get because that would require overlap at this stage. But at this stage, also making sure to, so he's going to set this one up, I think, make sure he does it properly here and get a nice clean move done. Mindful, of course, of the implications for the championship with all 3 of them here together on the road.
I think if Mazomo can't get past Shepherd, he won't be too disappointed if he sees Shepherd try and make moves on Tyson Brook, because there's a little bit of a hip and shoulder going on there. But that overtake plays into the hands of Simon Mazomo. They could finish in this order. Mazomo takes the title. From memory on what you've told me earlier, the 1 positional difference should mean Mazomo is ahead in the points.
It is correct indeed. I actually, once you told me there, the points unfortunately not quite working for us at the moment. I did actually bring them up for you. So the current situation, yes, with Tyson Broad currently running in 11th place, Simon Mazomo will need to drop back to 14th. That's Cam Dance in the dirt on the way to turn number 9 here. He is going to pull it up only just, though, as Aiden Coote gets held up high on the outside there too. He'll slot in behind Tyson Broad there, so there's a little bit of the buffer margin that talking about needs to be seen as Dance wide through turn 12 as well. It's going to allow an easy lineup and run by there for Shepherd. He'll get the draft, well, not even the draft, Jay. He'll just get the better exit off the corner there and be clear, I believe, by the time we get down to turn number 1. Although it looks like with the side draft, it'll be neck and neck into the braking zone here. Inside for Shepherd, though. We'll claim that corner nice and easy here, as then Aiden Coop wants back on through here. He'll go up the inside of Dance before turn 2 and take a place there as well.
I actually see, I don't know, you've got the same vision as me as well. Dance is really not happy with the car balance. He's making multiple adjustments to the car on the fly. So he's trying to get the car handling a little bit more in his favor. So see if these adjustments may play out, because he has been making moves, but then just that big mistake there cost him heaps of time, 2 positions, and almost the race, because he almost put it in the wall and almost made contact with, it was Aiden Coot as well.
Indeed, Coot stuck out on the right side of Dance there, which dropped him a spot. Coot able to get back through pretty promptly, safe to be said. As yeah, so current situation with things now, auto slightly reshuffled. Broad in 11th, actually, yeah, still only just ahead of Mazomo, so yeah, still can't separate them, which is most certainly going to be advantage Mazomo at this stage. In this race currently, there we go. Just noticed a little something off to the side here as we get our eyes on what's happening here on track, and I'm worrying about a couple of things all over the place here tonight. Try and keep eyes on the YouTube live stream, as well as obviously the production feed and the racing action on my own end as well. We go back up to the front of the field though to keep our eyes on this top 4 fight, as Joe Stewart still has Matt Bowler right underneath his rear wing. Robbie Gibbs and Cody Williams just in behind as well.
Yeah, and this front 4 now nowhere near as stretched out as it was, and the front 4 is now a front 6 because Veld and Purdy have joined onto the back of this group as well. So it's an interesting little dynamic here. I'm wondering as well how much fuel savings going on for these guys behind Job Stewart. I'm sure Job Stewart won't care about what the others are doing behind him. He'll just be content holding on to that position. As Aiden Coop with a good run out of the final corner. He's going to get the move done here on Dylan Shepherd, you'd expect into turn 1. Cameron Dance thought about throwing it up the inside as well, but backed out of it at the last second. Aiden Coop through making moves. Fuel is going to be something really interesting later on in the race, because you can get a huge advantage if your pit stop later on in the race is a lot shorter than everyone else. We talk about it week after week after week after week. You can save yourself a second in the pit stop. It is so much easier to overtake someone in the pits than it is out on track.
It certainly is, and this is one of the 3 races this year where I'd say it makes the most impact as we continue to watch this scrap here between now Coot, Shepherd, Dance, Broad, and Mazomo in that order. The 066 getting through well early on there in the lap. I've also just been having a quick look back at the little bump between Dylan Shepherd and Tyson Broad, which is back now on lap number 5. We're currently on lap number 8 here. As Coot around on the final corner. He will spin out of the front of the train. Thankfully for everyone involved, he's well off the racing line and can do a flick spin there to gather it all back up. But that's a little heart and mouth moment for everyone in that train, most particularly, of course, Shepherd and Dance right at the front of it, as they are nothing between the 2 of them there through turn 1. Dance, though, not close enough to commit to a move here, at least willing to be patient and potentially playing that fuel save game. This is one of those races where the fuel saving matters, as you will need to take the most amount of fuel in this race than any other that we've done so far this year, barring the other enduros of this 1 hour length. And looking at around 30 odd litres, give or take, tonight, Jay, in terms of what they'll need to make it home. So looking to see drivers come into the pits probably around lap number 20 or so.
Anywhere from 20 to 40, I think, around the numbers I was sort of thinking, yeah. So, I mean, it depends on what you want to do strategy-wise.
Indeed. I mean, I could just run the numbers for you right now in terms of, I know what the tank capacity is, 69.3 litres. Average fuel burn around here, about 1.8 to 1.85. You're looking at 37.5 laps if you hit that 1.85 number to a T. So, and
there's going to be drivers that are fuel saving as well, so they're going to be closer to 1.75 than 1.85. So
that's 38 laps, you'd think.
Yeah, and we're looking at around about a 54 lap race, give or take, as well. So race pace is around the 108. marker. So we're going to see around about 54, maybe 53 laps by the time we have that pit stop added in. So still lots of racing left in this one. I mean, we know that there's still 49 minutes on the clock, but the fact that there's so many straights that they've still got to tackle, there's so many high-speed moments for them to drive around, so many laps of this track to do. This really does feel like an enduro with over 50 laps of racing on the clock.
Yeah, and that's certainly the idea of the format for this round, and this the format to close things out here as well. Bit of a test here to see who can keep it under control for a slightly more slightly extended racing format here in this series. Mostly unlike what we've done for the most part this year, Jay. The sprint round action and the super sprint round action that we've mostly run up until this point this year, which has been a guessing game of whether it would be lap certain or time certain, depending on average pace in those events. And there's been plenty of time where, because of the fact we do have a time certainty attached to those races, that we did indeed go time certain.
Caught us out a few times too.
Yeah, indeed. So be curious to see, well, not curious to see, we do have to plan things out for next year. I can say with certainty now that the series will return for a 7th season. It won't return for said 7th season, though, until early on in 2023, and will be a shorter season to boot, as much as this has been an experiment in terms of running a single year-long calendar. And perhaps I could even dare argue it's an experiment I needed to run and see how it went, given that we've done only short course racing or short season racing in the past. I think it's safe to say, whilst the numbers have been pretty solid here, and again we've got currently 22 cars, also, pardon me, 21 cars out there and racing still tonight currently. Jay here, I think be curious to see what we can do with a shorter season once again, and see if drivers get keen to get back involved and get focused again when time comes around to start again.
Yeah, it's a hard balance to find as a series admin, the balance of the length of your season and how you run the season. And every single series, every single car, every single type of series finds a balance that's different. So NASCAR style series are better with a longer championship and things like that. But yeah, this seems to be the 6 to 8 to 10 round seems to be what has worked. I mean, not saying that this hasn't worked, but the drop-off has been a little bit more than we would have hoped, but the end of the season has been great, and the racing has been brilliant the whole way through. So it doesn't matter how many drivers you have. If you've got a 2-car race, it doesn't matter if the driving's good and the battles are good. Doesn't matter how many cars you got. Indeed,
yeah. And credit to everyone who's been taking part in the season, whether they've been in the pro class here at the front, whether it's been our Pro-Am guys either being up front and contesting, or mid-pack. Otherwise, and the AM guys who, sure, they're at the back of the field on pace, and therefore players. We've got a pass there from Cam Dance on Dylan Shipper. We've also got a pass attempt by Matt Bowler up ahead on Job Stewart. So it is popping off here. This is lap number 13 of the race here, Jay. And look at this here. Robbie Gibbs going to try and push Bowler through on the inside. He's given a single car's width and nothing more. Gibbs to the outside for turn 6.
No,
I need to sort this out because this is too wide at best. Oh my goodness me. Gibbs going to try and go around the outside. He'll have to abort though, as he'll go to the grass. Thankfully under control there, Jay. But my word, Robbie Gibbs forcing the issue, and then he's going to be given the exit curb, which isn't particularly friendly there, by Hayden Veld. So he'll drop from 3rd place back to the rear of the group, which is going to be 6's contact with Blake Purdy as they try and sort this out. Gibbs left high and dry, but it's going to be Matt Bowler who goes through to the race lead by the end of the lap.
And it's not done at the front either, because Job Stewart won't be too happy there with the pincer move, having the ERT drivers on the outside and inside. Stewart, very, very intelligent driving, backing out of it, but he's now trying to get this spot back. Bowler's having a lot to say about it, though. He does not want to give it up. I'll tell you what, Kobe Williams is trying to get involved now, too. Job Stewart saw that at the last second and opened the steering to make sure there wasn't contact. That's compromised both Williams and Stewart. Here comes Hayden Veld.
It's absolutely bonkers here. It's like all of a sudden here, we've hit lap 13 and lap 14. The shackles are off, and it's every man for himself. Well, not so much every man for himself, I should say, because it was certainly a coordinated effort there by Bowler and Gibbs, but Gibbs not able to hold the car around the outside. The grip does fall away on the right side of the circuit there, as he most certainly learned And, well, yeah, now it's a game of can Bowler break away? He broke away for a moment there, Jay, but he's been reeled back in, of course, with the backstretch draft and also the critical ability need to get the traction sorted out through turn 6 down to 9. And then down the front stretch again, closing back in with slipstream once more as it's going to be Gibbs up the inside of Blake Purdy here for P number 5 and start working the 888 back towards the front of the field again.
Yep, he's going to have to work it hard to get back through, though, because the competition is very, very intense in this lead group of 6. Sebastian Flock's dropped about 3.5 seconds back, but he's content just sitting there watching, waiting, knowing that there's going to be some action. I tell you what, that was very, very close to the outside wall there for both Williams and Val. They almost hit the Pertec signage on the wall. The exit of turn 4. The secondary group as well is starting to get a little heated as here comes up the inside. Through goes Job Stewart. I didn't think there was a chance that he was going to get that move done, but he's done it very, very nicely. Bowler was probably a little too courteous. They've got that done cleanly.
Reply in kind from 35 there. How about it? Decides he's not going to brook one moment from Matt Bowler there. So Bowler gets his 1 lap in the sun at the front of the field, but he's right back underneath the rear wing of Stewart as we come across the line once more. 15 laps already on the books here for the final round of the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup here at Sandown tonight. And yeah, you see this top 6. I think now again going to start sizing each other up for a moment, it would seem. As they've also got some lap traffic up ahead. Looks like it's going to be Kyle Booth in the 110 machine, the first to go a lap down, unfortunately. Whilst we've been watching the racing up front, seems that unfortunately for Kyle, it's not been quite the greatest night so far. But well, with a moment of calm for the front 6, checking back in with this group of 4 here, fighting over 8th place on the road so far. Cameron Dance back to the front of the train. With Dylan Shepherd in behind, and then Broad leads Mazzomo, but that's still not enough for the 27. He'll need to be at the front of this group, at the very least, whilst Mazzomo stays at the back of said group to swing the championship in his favour.
Yeah, exactly right. Lots of work for Broad to do. He needs a little bit of luck on his side as well.
Yeesh. Sorry, Jay. Kyle Booth had a moment out of turn 12, and unfortunately it nearly tripped up all front 6, caused a complete dodge from Kobe Williams after the occur off turn 13, hence why Kobe Hayden Velders through as Aiden Coote parked up at turn 6 has also requested a tow from race control.
So could we see a safety car here? Could we see our first safety car of the night? What has happened here for Aiden Coote?
And unfortunately for him. And he's been told to stand by race control. So
here we
I'm
go.
still waiting to see what Tom will do in the RC box as we watch the virtual race tour. Oh dear, in the grass, gets it out way too early than what he needed there to turn it in. And yeah, hard into the outside fences. He's parked up there. If I was to provide my opinion, I think that is a safety car worthy position because it's a fast spot. And we'll see here.
Oh, here we go. Drivers are thinking, anticipating safety car coming.
Well, got to wait to hear the instructions from race control in a second as to what happens. But indeed, you're not wrong there, Jay. Driver's going to jump on this, seeing that positioning, get the pit stop done early here. And, well, confirmation, safety car is coming out.
Wow. The Gibbs, Dance, Broad, Mazzomo did not pit. Hayden Veld's the shortest stop out of everyone, so he's going to jump all of those others around him. Wanted to give Isaac Edwards a shout out before this pit stop phase 2, leading the AM class. He's been trying all season long to get a podium in AM. He's leading the class at this stage, so if things stay as they are, it's going to be a very, very interesting night. Tom Wilkinson's out there in the safety car. Gibbs, Dance, Broad, Mazzomo, they've continued on, so Tom will have to let all of these guys past. Wait and see how the field shuffles out after this little phase.
All right, so indeed, pit strategy, all kinds of busy here. So safety car will park up on the exit of turn 1. Race leader currently is Robbie Gibbs in the 888 machine, as you pointed out, not taking the pit stop at the first opportunity. We wait to see, though, Gibbs, Dance, Broad, Mazzomo, they're all into the pit lane here. And now it's a game of, well, who comes out in the lead of the race. And actually, in saying that, critically, Hayden Velder was the first car off the pit lane of that group, Jay.
They did get
He's
held by the
potentially
safety
on
car a
track
little
here
bit.
To be on track here, to be the race leader in a second once the pit cycle shuffles out.
Yeah, the only issue is they didn't get as much fuel in the car as it looks like Robbie Gibbs is able to put in right now. Gibbs is
Massively
away.
so, yeah.
Yeah, so Gibbs has taken an extra 10 seconds in his stop. And the safety car line is there, I'm guessing. So it will be Gibbs, Dance, Feld, Broad Bowler, I'm going to guess the field order will be. So net gain for Cameron Dance, you would say, out of this pit stop phase, as well as Hayden Veld. In the battle for the championship battle, Broad is into 4th, Mazzomo's back in 8th. So this battle now is very interesting. I'm going to leave you for a second, Dan, because I think you might have to help Tom for a second sort out the race order and confirm the exact order of cars. Because that little rejoin phase there was absolutely intense, incredible. Yeah, it was full on. So I'll leave you with that little bit of a decision that may need to be made within race control. The other part that we need to talk about still is the battle in AM is still as it was order-wise. So Edwards still leading. Javin Wood did lose a couple of positions. Garriott now up into 2nd in that class. So they will restart in that order. But Gibbs, Dance leading the field. That is almost a given, whether it's Veld, Broad, Bowler, Edwards, Williams, Mazzomo in that order. We'll find out very, very soon. But yeah, it's an interesting little phase of the race now. The other part too is that the race length will be shorter. We were saying 54 laps of racing we were looking at. Looking at now probably 52, maybe 51, because the safety car will be out for another lap.
Yes, we will indeed. I'm just going to go back and forth here.
I can tell that you're looking stressed. I can see your face on the Zoom feed, and I can see that you're a little stressed trying to work out who's where, and I'm also putting you off while you're talking, so that's always good. I can see that some of the drivers are not impressed with that little situation with the safety car. I mean, unlucky where the safety car came out. Those drivers that were in the pits did get held up a little bit while Tom was confirming the race order. It is difficult. He's flying solo tonight, so a big thank you to Tom for doing that. But yeah, it's turned into a tiny little bit of an advantage for those who did stay out that extra lap, which sometimes does happen. But wave rounds coming in for the 110 and the 93. Get waved by the safety car and get a lap back. Put them back onto the lead lap. Hayden Coote has towed his car back to the pits, and that will be his night done, of course. Unfortunate to see, but always an incident that you're likely to see at a track like Sandown in such a high-speed section. One tiny mistake can ruin so many races.
It sure can indeed. So it is the first time I've actually had cars eligible for the wave around in this series, actually under a safety car, Jay. So the 110 of Kyle Booth and the 93 of Patrick Harding will get back on the lead lap here, which will get them a chance to fight back with the AM class cars here in the session. Now, see where Tom's at with the safety car coming up towards turn number 6. So what we'll do is we'll keep him out for one more lap, allow the cars at the back of the train to gather up and get a chance to take a pit stop if they so wish. And then we'll go racing once again at the end of the next lap here, as it looks like neither car of Kyle Booth or Patrick Harding going to come into the pits. And we'll hopefully get back to racing very soon.
So the big winners in the race so far: Isaac Edwards up 5 spots, Cameron Dance, Tyson Broad up 6. Biggest losers of position, well, obviously Aiden Coote out of the race, but there haven't been too many that have dropped bulk positions. Job Stewart, of course, started on pole. He's back to 6, but Blake Purdy and Sebastian Flock have lost a couple of spots. But there haven't been too many that have dropped really bulk positions, have they? There's not too many that have shuffled from the front all the way back to the bottom.
Yeah, you're not wrong there at all. as I'm just giving some instructions to a safety car driver, Tom Wilkinson, who it's the first time he's actually been out in the safety car this season. I'm usually the one who handles any safety car duties when needed for the series. So usually he just sits back and takes care of things for race control purposes here. So what I am going to do, though, is also send a message to the drivers that we're going to get this race underway at the end of this one here, since everyone's back in order.
So the order that was, as we saw after the pit exit, that's as they're restarting. Was there any shuffling required? Yeah, it's just talking to the drivers and race control, just to let them all know that everything is good to go and restart. Doing double duty, literal double duty. Sitting semi in race control and helping out in the comms box. Big thank you to Dan and Tom for allowing that to happen. Shout out to Reese Gardner, as some of you may have seen on his social media. He's had a little incident where his sim gear's been a little compromised, so unfortunately out of action for a little bit. Hopefully we'll have Reese back in the booth very, very soon. We're about to get this race back underway as they head into the S's up to Dandenong Road for the 21st time in this race. Not far off the halfway point of this one as well. Prediction now we're looking at, based on the current pace of the race, we're looking at around about another 25, 26 laps of racing from this point. So we're still looking at a 46, 47 lap races. Robbie Gibbs jumps away and gets the green flag. Race is restarted. And it looks like it's a relatively clean start. Everyone has got away rather well.
Yep, he went nice and early into turn number 11 in that case there. Just see some feedback from one of the drivers that safety car needed to maybe work on his driving there in that period. Maybe I need to get back out there in the safety car.
Not tonight.
Perhaps.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Trouble on the restart. Nicholas Garrioch and Isaac Edwards get together at turns 2 and 3 here. So after plenty of peace and calm there, it immediately pops off, it seems, here with the restart and the initial safety car there, Jay, as we go to the next of our virtual racing score replays to figure out how this is unfolded. Then looks like there, Garrioch up the inside for turn 2. Edwards keeps a nose in it for turn 3, and as a result, gets into the left rear corner of the 66.
I don't think Isaac did too much wrong there, really. I mean, he's just following the line that he was naturally going to be on, and Garrioch may have thought that Isaac was going to get out of the throttle a little bit earlier. Isaac has actually redressed the position, so even if he may not have been at fault, he's going to take some responsibility, give up the spot, make sure that he doesn't get in trouble from race control. I don't know if he needed to, but we continue on as there's a pass for second position. Haydenveld through on Cameron Dance. Now, one big question mark I've got, how many drivers have actually put enough fuel in the car? Are some drivers still a little short?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Because we know that there were some very, very fast pit stops in comparison to everyone else. Was that short filling the car in the hope that they then make it home? Or was that them saving fuel in the first stint to make it home? There's lots of different thinking around what may have happened in that phase.
Yeah, that will be curious to play out here. I think it does mean Robbie Gibbs is in the prime position for the time being to take the race win. Got the fuel in the car, but yeah, it's definitely been a pretty crazy one there, Jay, with pit stops and the like. And just seeing here, Tyson Broad came in at the end of lap number 18 versus Simon Zoma. Sorry, he also came in at the end of lap number 18.
They came together.
But because of the other cars that came around having pitted a lap prior, they have now been separated. Broad in 4th, Mazomo in 8th, and crucially, that completely changes the championship situation at this point in time. Now, it could change further. Of course, we've got Matt Bowler, Joe Stewart, and Kobe Williams, the 3 cars in between your 2 Pro-Am protagonists, which means that they're probably going to make their way through at some point, I would have thought. We'll have to see, though.
Be trying to get forceful to get through. You can feel that those guys would be the type that are going to be forceful about it. I mean, you can see Bowler already trying to make a move here on Broad, and does. So through, here you go. So Broad's back now. Oh, contact! Job Stewart into the back of Tyson Broad. Broad into the fence. And there's a bit of damage to the front of that car.
Now that is obviously controversial. Huge when it comes to the championship situation there. With Mazomo and Broad having been shadowing each other all race long, all of a sudden, incident with a driver unrelated to the championship situation. And indeed,
Wow.
Job Stewart down under brakes, just, I think, not ready for Tyson Broad. Maybe just a little early on the brakes than Stewart would be. And yeah, huge.
Yeah, I think that's
Go on board with the 35
literally,
continue the replay. I think,
literally
yeah,
a difference of skill, isn't it?
it's just one of the cases, yeah, where Stewart, I think also you're trying to be opportunistic and really try and work into the gap there that was going to probably open up on the left side of the road after that little kink that counts as turn 8. Get the inside for turn 9 and follow Bowler through, but just wasn't ready for a fairly, what looked like, it looked consistent in terms of the braking speed and deceleration from the 27 of Broad, but I'll have to wait and see what we get from race control. As I'm told that the safety car driver didn't have his in-game speedo visible, hence why safety car speeds were a bit all over the place.
Rookie error for the safety car driver. He'll fix that for the next potential time. Fingers crossed we won't need him again. But I'll tell you what, with controversy like that, there is every chance we're going to need him again. There's Mazomo looking up the inside of his very good friend Cameron Dance. I can tell you now that Dance will not fight that too hard. He'll be very, very sporting to Mazomo because he knows that he would not want to cost Mazomo this championship. Mez has been working so hard to try and win this title. I've never seen him put in as much practice as he has for this race.
Yeah, I've had a chance to see some of Mazomo's numbers in addition as well, and he's also been doing some other racing in this car. It was another series that happened to also come to Sandown, so that in part explains some of the lap counts there, but all in the name of making sure he felt he was race ready.
It's all confidence.
Fit, so
yeah, all about getting confidence at this track.
And it certainly is a place where you can. Pardon me, just got another inquiry from race control because I am still playing double duty as a sort of I'm the sounding board tonight for race control decisions.
You're doing a good job too, so I'll leave you be. We've got an issue for Kyle Booth and Isaac Edwards down at Dandenong Road. So Isaac's been involved with both of the Booth Garage cards, as confirming Job Stewart has received a black flag. I'm pretty sure that's a pretty easy to see decision based on what we saw on the replays.
Yes, I would definitely agree as well. And yep, see here, this another next of our virtual racing school replay. So Isaac Edwards following Kyle Booth through turns 6, 7, 8, coming to the hill. Oh, Isaac's a little wide there, so not the optimum entrance. And unfortunately there, that's another slam dunk one this time, Jay. Edwards unable to get the car pulled up and runs roughshod into the rear. Looks like he has redressed the position, so he might get away with a license point penalty to reflect, well, that was a mistake you made on track, but you did redress it, so we don't need to get too involved in that one, but we'll leave that one's in the hands of Tom up front. As Stewart into the lane to serve that penalty, he will cycle down the order here, and unfortunately that will make his chances of winning the race just that little bit harder as a result, because your leader's already through turn 1 now, and Hayden Veld still keeping the pressure on Robbie Gibbs despite having that nominal Pro-Am tag on the car.
He's going to lose that for next season.
I think he will have to, yeah. For those who don't know the series and how the classes are graded, because of the complexities of trying to run the series, the thing we decided was to just use drivers iRating. Now, for those who are experienced with iRacing and been around a while, obviously, and I acknowledge it too, it's certainly not perfect by any means. There are drivers who do enough league racing that their iRating is not reflective of their true skill. It might be that someone has done a lot of official races in a particular car and their iRating doesn't quite reflect their skill in another specific car. As we go to another virtual racing school replay, post drive-through penalty for Job Stewart, had him in behind Tyson Broad, so in effect the penalty doing its job in terms of purpose as Tyson Broad up through the curbs at turns 2 and 3, and unfortunately for him, that time was entirely self-inflicted. A bit too deep as Javin Wood blinks out of existence, and I think that might have just saved him from further contact at the rear end of that 27 machine.
So when it goes bad, it goes very bad. I've just seen Javin Wood, who was leading AM off the circuit. So Nicholas Garrett, as he's been throughout the entire series, now leads AM. Javin Wood's about to be passed here by David Leslie down the front straight. Only 23 minutes left on the clock. I don't know where the first 35 minutes of this race have gone. It feels like we not long ago went green.
You're not wrong. It's been fantastic action up front. And yeah, the clock doesn't quite seem to tell the tale. We've packed in a lot of action, a lot of times passed. Now, obviously, the safety car period
pass
there plays part of the action. Is indeed Javin Wood through there on David Leslie. As Leslie almost in the
Trying to
bumper
push
there,
him in the wall.
but they get through there. Pass made, 16th place, third in class for Javin. Back in his hands for now.
Now, when I say David Leslie trying to push him in the wall, I didn't mean that literally. I mean, he's just giving him a little bump, heading in the direction of the wall. So don't come at me. Don't hate me for what I just said there.
cover your backs.
Cover me bum in every way.
Yeah, fair enough indeed. Looks like Ben Johnson will slow there through turns 11, 12. Oh, well. This is
Do we need to have a look at this?
Looks like a solo car incident, but what we will do is we'll have a quick look at it here and see how that's occurred for Javin Wood. And yeah, just as we pick it up there, that front left locked. That tells me all I need to know in terms of...
Usually doesn't want to turn when the front left's locked like that.
Yes, indeed. Apt observation there from you.
For someone that doesn't drive, I worked that out pretty well, didn't I?
Well, I guess so, yeah. You've done enough producing and producing.
I've watched enough races over the last few years.
You pick up a thing or two, even if you're not the one actually out there driving.
Well, I used to race once upon a time. Hey, actually, I've done 3 races this year. What are we talking about? I did all right. I only looped it like 26 million times.
3 races out of a potential year's worth of racing. I mean, all right, we'll give you half.
Hey, that's 3 more than I've done the previous 3 years combined.
I think that is true there, indeed. So back to live pitches we can go. Eyes on here, Blake Purdy and Simon Mazzomo. So Mazzomo up to 6th place in class now. Oh, sorry, 6th outright, apologies. He's 2nd in class, as you can tell by the colours on the timing tower. Orange for our pro class to match their decals, with the exception of Mazzomo being in the blue to nominate a class leader. He would normally otherwise be in the bright yellow, fluoro yellow for the Pro-Am drivers, and the hot pink to nominate our AM class drivers. Although, much like Mazzomo, Nicholas Garrett out in track, also resplendent in the blue the blue decals, I should say, to try and pick him out a little bit separately from the rest of the class there. You see here, looks like Cameron Dance, as you picked out earlier, Jay, more than happy to continue to play rear gunner for Mazzomo at this point in the race. But,
I think if he didn't, he'd be getting a few stern words, because they are very good mates. They've been teammates for a very long time. They were teammates at Texas Sky Motorsports for years and years. So when Mez left 18 months ago, they still raced together in certain series under that banner, and Mazzomo still goes and drives with them in endurance races every now and again. So still very, very friendly between those two. Of course, the team of Texas Sky Motorsport no longer under that name, now Orbit Motorsport, Orbit Motorsport, isn't it?
It is indeed.
I don't know what
the overlays will tell us.
Yeah, I know. I could click that button, couldn't I? But yeah, it's good to see that the camaraderie still goes on. And one of the things that I've loved about sim racing my entire time of being involved in it is the friendships and the mates that you make along the way. And Mez and Cam are 2 absolute perfect examples. That's Patrick Harding off there. He's out of the way, so not too many issues there. Interesting that we saw how much of a breakaway that Gibbs and Veld had at the restart. Bowler was a long way back, but I tell you what, he's gained some ground in the last few laps. He's there now.
I'll give you 2 guesses as to why, and it involves a car that was in the sand.
Right. So that happened just in front of the leaders, obviously.
Indeed, spot on there. And for those who can't quite play the riddle games that I'm trying to play with Jay here, it was Patrick Harding who actually was in front of Robbie Gibbs and Hayden Veld.
They didn't lose too much time on the clock, though. So I'm surprised that that's closed down so quick.
Basically, to clarify, it was just a case of had to back it off a fraction down the hill, and it looks like Bowler took full opportunity to really throw it through that sector in particular at
And he's
full
gained
speed.
gained a few tenths on this lap as well, hasn't he? So yeah, that's why he's there, ready to pounce.
Yep, he's ready, and I think he would certainly like one final win to his name, would Matthew Bowler, because while the Pro Class Championship for the drivers in the full season is wrapped up, we can confirm, well, there is actually one other championship that Bowler is technically fighting for here at this stage, with a bit of an attempt to re-energize the series for the final couple of rounds. We did start tracking the scoring across the final 5 rounds independent of the rest of the season, and also retroactively went and isolated rounds 1 through 7, because they were all at tracks from across North and South America, and then that left rounds 8 through 15 as tracks from across Europe to be its own regional mini-series, to put it another way. So this has been the Asia Pacific tour, as it were, and Matt Bowler coming into tonight was leading that mini-series by just 40 points over Bo Albert, who unfortunately is not with us here this evening to potentially make that a complete sweep of Pro Class drivers' accolades this year. So it's now Matt Bowler's for the taking, but Bobby Gibbs only 46 points back, well and truly in with a chance of taking it away from him here tonight, Jay, if Bowler falls a couple more spots back over the course of this race.
Here comes Job Stewart on his crawl back through the field, passes Kyle Zink, gets back into the top 10. Be happy about that, but he's still got a little bit of time to find to get up to Dylan Shepherd next. Shep is about 9 seconds up the road. There he is. I'll tell you what, it's pretty cool to see this livery out on track. It's a sight that you do see in the real world. This livery out on track at Sandown. Very cool to see.
Yep, I did allude to Dylan being partly occupied on weekends with a real-life job with the Carrera Cup team. And funnily enough, it does mean that Tom is also quite familiar with this team, Sonic Motor Racing Services, with their Bob Jane Team Arts sponsorship. And thanks to Sonic, we can also say that we've got a little extra special prize, well, not prize per se, but the trophies for our podiums this year for this season. It's the first time we'll be doing driver trophies, which was part of the plan, thanks to an entry fee to help try and make that all possible on cost. But a big thanks to Sonic. We're going to have something a little extra special for the drivers this season. I don't quite have it already just yet, unfortunately, but please
keep your eye on socials.
Keep your eyes on the Aussie Online Gaming socials. We'll most definitely be sharing that when they're ready to go. And yeah,
must say, very, very cool. Very cool what you've got coming up. And big thanks to Sonic for them helping you out with it.
Yeah, so can't thank the team at Sonic enough for being willing to actually help with that there. And yeah, allow us to do something a little bit different. And then hopefully it maybe can be something we can try and also keep doing going forward. And would have to say credit to the NTE series actually, Jay, because that's where we actually kind of spotted it first. And
you got the inspiration from them, didn't you?
Most definitely. So certainly can't lame credit
Shout
to that
out
one.
to Jake.
Certainly does belong with Jake at NTE series for doing that for his series first, and therefore giving us the idea to go after.
Oh dear.
The similar thing is, oh dear, trouble down at turn 9. We've got 3 AM class cars involved. David Leslie here in the 666. I believe I saw there.
Devin Wood and Kyle Booth.
Javon Wood, the 110 again, unfortunately. And yes, Javon Wood, the 369 again, unfortunately. Kyle Booth, too, the 110 as well. So a lot of trouble down here. Let's go to the next of our virtual racing school replay. So it's Leslie, then Wood. And tries to get out of the way. Tiniest bit of contact, and then Kyle Booth at full speed has unfortunately gone in quite aggressively to the rear of Wood. They're not ready for that one there. Whilst we've been on replay, Jay, it looks like we've had some troubles for Dylan Shepherd by himself at turn 9 as well.
Interesting. I was actually also going to say that incident looked a lot worse when we went to the live. When we went to the replay, it was nowhere near as entertaining as we thought it may have been.
I guess you got a point there. Quite a slow speed nudge from Javon
slow
trying to get...
is what it felt like, wasn't it? It was almost in slow motion.
Yeah, so here's what happened to Dylan Shepherd. Okay, so just in case of running wide, tries to regather it up to avoid the slowdown. My word, Dylan Shepherd.
How has he not got a mechanical black flag from that?
Minor miracles there indeed. And also able to get it stopped barely a quarter of the way into the gravel trap as well.
Tyson Broad's had a moment at turn 1 as well.
Oh dear, it keeps going off. That actually didn't come up for me. So more
He's
drama.
done this all on his own too.
So into turn 1, we've seen him unfortunately already lose the rear under braking here. Runs wide and up and over the curb, Jay. Yep, that curb. Bit of a little hill on the outside of the corner there is inviting to take, but unfortunately, tyres starting to go on that 27 machine and really feeling the pinch as a result as we're inside the final quarter of the race. 14 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock here as your top 3 are nose to tail. Robbie Gibbs is looking a little loose in that Triple 8J at this stage here. I reckon Hayden Veld's got a little bit more car left underneath him at this point, and he might just be on with a genuine chance of having a go at it here for the race lead, but Gibbs is going to defend that inside line with all he's got, it would seem.
I don't disagree with you there. I actually was thinking that Gibbs was in the great spot because he may have actually taken tyres at his pit stop, or at least a couple of tyres, but maybe he's taken 2 tyres at the pit stop because his pit stop is 10 seconds longer than everyone else. Has he taken 2? But that's hurt the balance of the car as the stints progressed, and the balance is now completely out of whack. He's not able to adapt it, whereas Veld and Bowler are just on the base setup as they are used to driving at this point of the race. I don't know if that's what's going on. It could be that, it could be something completely different. But Veld and Bowler look a lot more composed, a lot more settled than Gibbs does at the moment. Gibbs looks out of control, on edge, and is a split second away from pushing it from 100% to 101 and putting it in the wall.
With traffic again coming up for these guys, Carl Booth and Javon Wood. There is, it looks like Dylan Shepherd and Carl Zink, I think, just traded places. No, probably Job Stewart through on Dylan Shepherd. Apologies there, 35 gets through on the 43 in an attempt to continue his recovery up the road as we go on board with the man in P2, Hayden Veld, and also grab the Zoom call feed. So
That's
smile
poor
for the
baby.
More baby, smile for us, please? Question mark?
I don't know if I want to see it smile.
Debatable. Yeah, actually, that might be for the best. We'll not entertain that possibility here.
You know, what's funny, the last time we put him on Zoom, he actually realised he was on Zoom and gave us a wave, but I don't know if he's going to do it this time. He might be a bit too stressed.
I think he's maybe looking for it, but let's let him focus because we've got lap traffic and the leader getting a little bit held up there through the final couple of turns. Veld not able to capitalise just yet, willing to ride in the slipstream for 1 lap longer. Wide of the apex though for the Triple 8 machine. Here we go towards turn 2. No, he's going to be covered off by Gibbs. He knows better than to leave that open there for attack. 1 more lapped car to negotiate here. Who gets the run best off turn 4? You can see Gibbs is actually going to be very aggressive and get all the advantage he can with the slipstream up the backstretch here, Jay.
Yep. That is Kyle Booth that they go on by. Will Veld be able to get up far enough? I don't think he's close enough, but he thought about potentially making a move, but he has forced a shallow entry into the S's out of Robbie Gibbs, but Gibbs too strong there. Too much pace, too confident in the braking. He'll hold on to the spot. Tell you what, the pressure has got very, very intense at the front here, hasn't it?
Certainly has. And I think, yeah, just coming back to Hayden Veld as a driver for a second personally here, all credit to him. He's been very busy out of the blue with Synergy Sim Racing the past couple of weeks across various V8 powered machines here on the iRacing service, and most particularly doing a pair of 1,000-kilometre races at Bathurst across 2 different leagues, as well as a little bit of lead-up enduros in one case, I believe, as well. So a lot of his time of recent has been driving a car that is fundamentally very different to these Porsche 992 Cup cars. He's on board with Matt Bowler, we were there and still are, but a moment there out of turn 4 for both him and Veld has allowed at least 3 car lengths to Robbie Gibbs up ahead. Bowler's going to maybe try here for turn 6. He does, actually late. Going to go for it here under brakes, and Veld is not in a position to contest this time. He will concede P2 to the number 12 for the time being. It's Gibbs deep at turn number 9. This could open a chance for Bowler through to the race lead here on the corner exit.
Wow. Just when we thought that it was done, that little group for a little bit, it's on again. And even though these guys are teammates, there is a very competitive rivalry between Gibbs and Bowler, and Veld is also chatting to these guys as well. The 3 of them are all in chat together. So they're all having fun. They're all having a laugh. I can actually see Hayden Veld also laughing at the same time as Matt Bowler there. So someone's having a bit of fun within the group. Good to see the camaraderie is there between these guys, even though they're fighting very aggressively out on track.
Yeah, and it's a credit to the fact we can have drivers here from across various teams able to still get together and enjoy the racing between each other while still putting their best foot forward from start to finish here as they continue. Once again, 42nd lap of the race here as they make the climb up the hill once more. You can see Kerry Williams there in the background, unfortunately, not able to stick with this. It was Veld, shows the nose on the run to turn 6, but not able to get up the inside like Bowl did last time round. They've got more traffic ahead. Just the lone lap car of Patrick Harding here, so this should be easy enough to dispatch of. It's just going to be about timing and momentum as to how that, as it looks like Bowl here, I think, is backed up here, knowing that Gibbs is going to come up on Harding here through 11 and 12 as Gibbs opens the door through the inside, and that compromises the mid-run, but Bowler has to go narrow to get past Harding there, so I think it's a 6 of one, half dozen of the other in this case, as we're on board with the 888 across the line once more. And see here, got a car length to his advantage, and that's going to give him a gap here to hang on to under brakes. Bowler not going to send it from that far back, thankfully, but he's still looking very racing with the headlights now on as dusk is approaching here in the virtual time. We will get this race done here, though, with enough virtual / natural light, depending on how you look at it here. But once again, back to the next group of cars fighting on the road. Simon Zomo, 6th outright, 2nd in the class. Got Sebastian Flock, who's slotted up in between him and Cameron Dance now on that 84 machine. Now, I know for a fact, I'm almost certain again, much like we're talking there with Gibbs, Bowler and Veld, Flock, Mazomo, Dance might all still be in contact with each other.
Mazomo's gone off to talk to the championship team chat. He just wanted to focus on the championship rather than have a laugh with the mates, which, I mean, if these guys were in a championship fight as well, I think that the situation would be very, very different in regards to how friendly they all are amongst themselves. It's great to see, though, that they are being very friendly. Just seeing too, Kyle Zink has come into the pits on 2 consecutive laps, so he's come in now for the 3rd time. I'm not sure as to why he's come in this time, but he's definitely come in for a 3rd pit stop.
Interesting observation there, Jay. Good, thanks for pointing that one out there. You're not wrong. Everyone in the pits only once versus his 3 ventures. Now, for this race, given it's a slightly longer one, and we're a little bit forgiving here at AOG, they did have 2 fast repairs to their name, so it could be just that needing or wanting and deciding that having a spare car in hand here.
I can see that number, and it didn't change when he just came in then, so I can see that he's used 1, but he hasn't used 2. Now, there's also a move about to happen here. Flock thought about throwing it up the inside of Mazomo, backed out of it at the last second, so Mazomo's not safe in this P6 at the moment, but I don't know, if I was in Mazomo's shoes, I'd just be letting Flock and Dance go and let them drive off into the distance and drive my own race from here. Not risk anything.
Yep, 6 minutes on the clock and leading the championship coming into tonight. And unfortunately, the misfortunes of Tyson Broad mean that he is in no position to contest this title, barring a miracle late race safety car and a clean but hyper-aggressive charge up the field. Should that come to pass. But given we've only had 1 safety car tonight for the stricken car of Aiden Coote up at turn 6, looks like we are going to stay green to the under. On board with Cameron Dance here in the number 6 Forward Motorsport. Currently riding in position number 8. Got very close indeed, Sebastian Flock, but that compromises the run up the hill here as had to make sure he timed that run a little bit later, I think, than he would normally have preferred.
I don't know if you've been noticing as well, Cameron's been enjoying a cool beverage on the back straight almost every lap, but decided the one time I put him up on camera, he didn't want to have that cool beverage.
Unfortunately, I've had not enough screens to keep an eye on everything, because I've got your production feed on one screen, I've got iRacing so I can flick around if I need to look at stuff on my own, as well as maybe on the off chance that something else pops up whilst we're doing. I'd love to have the Zoom feed up, but I've also got like the YouTube broadcast up to keep an eye on broadcast chat this
Why don't you
evening.
have a wave while you're going?
And oh, there we go. Hi everyone, this is me here on the Zoom feed here this evening for this one there. So
I'm not putting my face on it, don't worry.
Yeah, get me out of there too as well. I forgot to wear appropriate team apparel as it happens, but that's on me. As I just saw a windscreen wiper from Simon Mazomo there, nudging the toggle there. iRacing, rain, hashtag soon. At least that's what they keep saying. But we are operating
Well, it's closer today than it was yesterday. I can confirm that.
Oh, well, that's indeed.
And it'll be even
observation.
closer tomorrow.
Oh,
Hey, I'm not
You love to-
lying.
you love
I'm
to-
not lying.
You're not. No, you're not.
Oh,
Oh, Lordy Cameron
dance!
dance! Takes Sebastian Flock with him. Unfortunately, the 84 has gone a long, long way off into the gravel at Dandenong Road as a result. And that's quite the oopsie there from the number 6. We'll go to a quick replay of it once again, thanks to Virtual Racing School. And, well, not much more needs to be said about this one. Very close into turn 6, Jay, but just a bit of a misjudgment here down through turn 7 and 8.
I think may have been because he's unsettled the car coming up over the curb. As he's put on the foot on the brake, it hasn't broke at the normal power, and yeah, just run into the rear of Mr. Mizomo. I mean, sorry, Mr. Flock. Better not say Mr. Mizomo. He'll have a heart attack if we think that he's been taken out. Cam will no doubt be getting a little message from race control at some point very soon saying, "You're a naughty boy." Is it too late to get a drive through at this point? Probably. Only 3.5 minutes left on the clock. It's still 3 laps of racing, so maybe we'll see a quick decision, but we'll see. One thing that does do is Simon Mizomo behind a little bit of breathing room, but I tell you what, if that had gone a little bit more pear-shaped, Mizomo would have got taken out by that. That was what I was talking about before. Let those guys through, let them go, not worry about what's going on behind, not worry about having them potentially make an error and take you out.
Yeah, you're not wrong, as that could have been massively, well, been a massive rebalancer for the championship potentially. Now, I mean, saying that, Tyson is currently about, looking at the timing tower, a gap of around, what's that, 35, 40
30 seconds,
unfortunately,
yeah.
at this point, due to his extra misfortunes in this race. So, yeah, unlikely to be much there. But transit down the pit lane, or a slow final sector with a heavily damaged car, who knows?
Yeah, well, I mean, if there was contact made there, I mean, that's a spin to start with, which probably costs 10, 15 seconds. And if the car is damaged, that's an extra however many seconds a lap. If there's anything further than that, you know, if there's mechanical black flag where he has to come into the pits, that could cost him the championship. So Mizomo lucky, but in another race, another situation, that would have been absolutely horrible for him, but it may play into his advantage a tiny little bit because he's got some breathing room behind now with Job Stewart now closing in.
Yep, indeed. We'll see what happens here as Stewart back up into P7. P6 could be on here. We've got 2 laps to go, thanks to the fact the clock is approaching 1 minute 10 or thereabouts. The leaders are already heading up through turn 5 as they begin this journey one last time. Robbie Gibbs, about half a second to his name. Should have this one fairly covered off, make it 6/10 this time by. Looks like Matt Bowler on the defensive more so than the attack, with Hayden Veld still hanging on in behind here. Look at how much curb you said. Veld able to get that car down to the apex curb, vault up and over that apex curb as well, and get really good drive despite, you know, having a curb that would be threatening to destabilize the car. But credit to him, he's got one final lap to make a move stick. 7/10 for Robbie Gibbs. Back to Matt Bowler. 3 kilometers of racing left for the 6th season of the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup. And we've got ourselves a 2-way fight for P2 here as we get this final lap underway.
Using that curb like a motocross berm and using the inside of it to rip the car around the corner at more speed. If you nail it perfectly, it can give you a bit of extra pace. Some of the curbs you can do it in and some of the curbs you can't, and that is one that you cannot touch. Bowler with a huge slide and may lose his 2nd position here to Hayden Veld.
Here we go. Veld's going to have to go.
Can't get it done.
I'll get it done as I'm just...
Robbie Gibbs coming up to the last couple of corners at the end of this 50-lap race in the end. 1 hour of racing on the clock, and the final race of the championship season will go to Robbie Gibbs from Evolution Racing Team. ERT 1-2 with Matthew Bowler in 2nd. Hayden Veld will round the race off in position number 3. Cameron Dancer's had an issue on the last lap, but
Ordering a
Simon...
retread.
Yep. Mizomo, massive congratulations. He does it. He picks up the championship win in what has been one hard-fought championship between Simon Mizomo and Tyson Broad. Both of those drivers deserve a huge round of applause and congratulations because they both fought it all the way to the end.
They sure did. It's obviously not quite the way we want the title to go, but it's racing and sometimes anything can happen. Someone else can get involved. So indeed, congratulations are well deserved to Simon Mizomo with a clean race for him. Did what he needed to do. He takes the Pro-Am Drivers' Championship for the 6th season Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup. The final race of the season means that Nicholas Garriott can put a bow on it and claim the AM Class Championship with another AM Class race win to boot as well. And, well, everyone brings it around here for the final lap. And, oh, they've already gotten started. You know what? I'll let this one slide because it's the final race.
It's party time. Well, Bowler has won the mini championship as well, so we can let him celebrate a little bit. He has won the Asia Pacific leg of the championship season. Unless my maths is completely wrong, I believe that anyway. There's every chance of that too, with how good my maths has been lately. But what a fun event this one was. What a fun championship it was. 20 rounds of grueling racing. I think 46 races from memory as well, Dan. It's been absolutely thrilling. And for one last time, we can look at the race results. Gibbs, Bowler and Veld rounding out the podium. Congratulations to Hayden Veld on winning Pro-Am tonight. The class of the field in Pro-Am tonight by a fairly long way, but Simon Mizomo wins the championship in the Pro-Am division. Kobe Williams and Blake Purdy finished 4th and 5th in the race. Job Stewart with a drive-through still comes back to 7th position. Sebastian Flock, Cam Dance with, as you said, the redress at the end. Dylan Shepard rounding out the top 3, but 3rd in the race for Pro-Am. From there, we go back to Ben Johnson in 11th position. Nicholas Garriott in the 66 wins the AM class. Tyson Broad in 13th. Last driver on the lead lap was Dean Landy, who finishes 2nd in AM. Isaac Edwards finally does get his podium in AM. Finishes 3rd with Javin Wood, Kyle Booth, Kyle Zink, David Leslie, and Patrick Harding rounding out the field. We had one driver not finish the race, that being Aidan Coote, who brought out the safety car. What a fun night of racing that was. While we were running through those results, I can confirm that it has been absolute chaos over the start-finish line, with drivers turning an expression session into even more than that. The bill for Porsche parts tonight is absolutely astronomical. Watch Hayden Veld at the bottom of the shot here. Hits the wall and rolls it over. Hits it back on his wheels. But yeah, every single car out on the track doing donuts and having a little celebratory donut spin. Bit of a fun, bit of a laugh. We'll start our driver interviews. We'll start with the race winner. Congratulations, Robbie Gibbs, on a win. It probably looked a lot easier than it ended up being. It wasn't a difficult result in the end, getting a 7.5 second win, but it probably was a lot more difficult out on track than it looks when you look at that result.
Yeah, absolutely. I am sweating buckets right now. Could not wait for that to be over. But yeah, no, it was tough at the beginning trying to get track position, but in the end, somehow my overcut worked a treat, so I'll take it.
Did you take a little bit of extra fuel, or did you take a couple of tyres there with that overcut and coming out still ahead of the field? You did have a lot longer stop than everyone else.
Yeah, I did overfuel a little bit, but because I filled up pretty much exactly what I needed, but I forgot there was a safety car and I'd save fuel.
Yeah, okay, there you go. So it paid off in the end, though, because you could definitely push all the way to the end and didn't have to stress too much about that fuel in the end. A great end of the championship. Not quite enough to beat Bowler in the mini championship at the end, but 1-2 for the team's got to be pretty good, and you guys must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, this was just a fun little way to end off the season, I think, but to get a team 1-2 and for Maddie to win the mini championship, it's a pretty good way to end it.
Congratulations, mate. Anyone you'd like to thank before we let you go and celebrate?
Yeah, just like to thank the teammates at Evolution Racing Team and Logitech for the sponsorship and ongoing support.
Congratulations, mate. Well done on the night. We go next to Matthew Bowler. Mr. Bowler, congratulations. P2 on the night. How do you feel after that? I mean, you nearly got there. You nearly had enough to steal the win, but probably a couple of little errors on those last couple of laps cost you a potential win.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty exhausted from that. I think the early battling with Job really set off the tyres pretty early on, so catching up to Hayden and Robbie was a bit difficult, and then got past Hayden, but Robbie was too quick. I kept sliding out of the corners, especially the important ones that have straights onto them, so yeah, a bit unfortunate, but we got a 1-2 to finish off the season, so a whole bunch of fun there.
It was a very, very interesting fight you had with Hayden there. We weren't sure if you were going to throw it up the inside and try and steal that spot away, but you did steal his second position in the race away from him. Was there a little bit of banter going on between you guys there as well, I'm guessing?
All three of us were having a pretty good laugh. By the end of it, I just told him I'm going to bomb him at some point.
Well, you did that.
I did, yeah. And I told Robbie I was going to do it from pretty far back just to scare him a little bit, but yeah, I couldn't get to him. But we're all three great mates, so there's a lot of respect between each other. So yeah, we love racing hard, and especially when the season's wrapped up, there's no real championship points on the line for the guys who are already sealed in the championship. We'll just throw it out there and have some fun and see what happens.
Well, congratulations, mate. A very, very successful season for you in the end. You pick up a win wins throughout the season, but you also pick up win in the Asia Pacific leg of the championship, also the team's championship as well. So congratulations, mate, on that. Who would you like to thank for your results for the season?
Well, I would thank a whole bunch of people because I've changed teams so much. But I'll just thank ERT and especially Logitech. Also, Seb and Robbie and all the guys for their contribution to the series. Without Seb, we wouldn't really be where we are. And with some misfortune of Sam Blacklock's technical issues, we were able to get there in the end. So not quite the way we wanted to have it done, but for me to get second in the championship and, like you said, win the regional championship, it's pretty good to see how far I've come from the start of the season to now, and be able to beat Bo on pace at some point and win a few races against him is obviously a massive highlight for me.
Well, congratulations, mate. Well deserved, and very, very good championship in the end for you. So well done.
Thank you.
Dan, we've got you back finally. We'll let you take the next one. I think we're going to have Hayden Veld next.
Yeah, we'll run through the race podium here real quick, and well, breaking up the pro class monotony here, Hayden. Oh my goodness, that's absolutely it. Terrifying image now you brought to us on screen. But mate, you've been pretty busy of late in the V8s here with your boys at Synergy and various endurance races. You've jumped in here tonight in the Porsche Cup car. Whilst you've certainly got laps around Sandown under your name of recent as well, but you've come out here and you've shown these boys that maybe we probably should have bumped you up to pro class at some point along the way.
Yeah, well, I think it's more of a fact that I've got about 2 tracks where I'm fast at. One of which we never raced at, so love to see Zandvoort on the schedule next season. But yeah, Sandown seems to be my other track that I seem to excel at. Don't know why, but yeah, I absolutely love it. Did put in slightly more prep this week than the last couple of rounds, so it probably helped a little bit. But yeah, love it.
Well, yeah, certainly can. Well, actually, glad to hear you being able to actually put some time in, and appreciate it. But yeah, certainly really stuck it to Robbie and to Matt, and also you had Kobe and Job up there early on, and Blake as well, able to run in what was a pretty pro-heavy group at the start of the race tonight. Obviously, that safety car coming out there, sort of right on the time where you guys were able to make it home on a one-stopper there, and put yourself up into P2 with the pit strategy there. As it played out there, so really able to maximise that with that stop.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest, I short-fielded a little bit, knowing that the safety car was more than likely about to come out at that point after seeing the car stranded off at 6. So it certainly helped with jumping a couple of people, and yeah, I don't know, just centre really.
Glad to hear a good race result for you here tonight, mate. Before we let you go, who do you want to thank tonight for the result?
All the boys at Synergy for all the help as usual. Bowler, Seb, Kobe for the help in the practice session, and yeah, the sponsors. I mean, you guys at SimSpeed hear it all the time, so I won't bore you with that. But Dan, Tom, all the boys who set up the league, and obviously you, Jay. Amazing job on the broadcast as always. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Hayden. Great to have you on track with us once again. And thank you for being part of the series. Hope to see you back when we return in 2023.
I'll be back.
There we are. P3 tonight for Hayden Veld there. Going to now quickly switch to our AM class winner here tonight, having sealed the championship at Phillip Island last time out. Nicholas Garrick able to convert once again with another class win. I think that Pro-Am promotion that by getting the championship you'd already locked in, you've now well and truly deserved here with another solid result for you tonight.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. Tonight I feel like I could have had the pace to wrestle it with some of the Pro-Am boys, but just had some unlucky events. But nah, super keen to come back next season and yes, take on the Pro-Am, hopefully be up the front somewhere.
Well, your pace certainly has been great to watch. Maybe qualifying, be looking forward to seeing what you can do there in terms of making some steps forward. But your race pace, consistency and ability to keep your nose clean, mate, has been one of the best this season. And that is obviously therefore displayed in the championship title and picking it up one round early as well to boot. So I think all things considered, you'll be in with a pretty decent shot with making yourself feeling pretty at home in the Pro-Am class when we return in 2023.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, just be looking to keep the consistency and yeah, take whatever. If I have a bad night, just take whatever result I can get. It all counts towards, especially with a year-long championship like this one. And yeah, looking forward to it. It should be really good.
Yeah, indeed. And I guess one last thing on the race tonight. Unfortunately, didn't get a chance to really look at you all that much because things really felt like they were going off all around you with lots of little battle packs. We had a great scrap up the front for the outright result. Sort of, what was the race like from your perspective behind the wheel of the 66 tonight?
It was good. At the start of the race, I got a tap from behind, which sent me off at turn 1, which put me to the back. It was good coming back through the pack. And then the safety car did help for sure to get all the field all back together. So quick chance to get in for the pit stop. Had a good restart, had a really good exit off turn 1 and went for a pass into turn 2 and just got a little tap there and had to go back to the back of the grid again and come back through. That it was fun. I wouldn't say it wasn't too frustrating considering I had already wrapped up the championship, so I wasn't too worried about that. It was just about having fun and passing some cars, and yeah, and by the end there I was in a good groove and just putting down some solid lap times. But it would have been nice to see what we could have done with the Pro-Am guys, but well, we'll see till next season.
Sounds like that's a good plan there indeed. Nicholas, before we let you go tonight, who do you want to thank for the results?
I just want to thank our primary sponsors, ZTech Engineering, Marley Constructions, My Real Estate and Inox Lubricants for jumping on board for the team this season. They do a great deal for us as a small team, and yeah, every little bit helps. And I'd like to thank you to all the people behind the scenes, the commentators, all the competitors for good racing for the whole season. Yeah, the broadcasters put on a good show, and you organisers make a really good league and very welcoming to come and race in.
Glad to be able to put it on. Thank you very much for being a part of it, Nicholas, and indeed we'll be back raring and ready to go in 2023. Look forward to seeing you on the grid once again.
Thank you. Cheers.
And well, actually make it 2 people to finally talk to. Looks like what we might do here, Jay. Are you giving me a hint with the B-roll there as to?
Yeah. We'll go to Tyson next, and then we'll finish off with Mr. Mazzomo.
All right. Well, we'll grab him in for a quick chat. Tyson Broad, unfortunately tonight, you were doing just about what you could do, it seems, on the road, and then cruelly snatched away there with an incident. But unfortunately, you have to say that's racing sometimes, and you can't really blame it on Job in terms of trying to do something intentional. Just a mistake in terms of pace difference there between you, and unfortunately puts you outside the top 10 tonight on the road, and it will mean 2nd place in the championship for you here at the end of the season.
You know, you can't really do much when the driver behind has a bit of a brain fade moment. But yeah, doing I was actually surprised with how much pace I had, considering the fact that I was struggling to even see due to the fact that yet again I was battling illness whilst racing. So yeah, that just kind of sees my luck. You know, whenever I'm in the title fight, it just seems that an illness will come along and derail my progress.
Yeah, obviously that's not great, and definitely makes things a little difficult for you, to say the least. And obviously, clearly, yeah, definitely felt like you were struggling there, and yeah, and fair enough for it. But look, while unfortunately it was, it's not quite what you were hoping for there. I think you be proud with P2, man. You gave it the fight to Mez all season long, and it took another driver, another incident involving a completely unrelated driver to unfortunately untangle you there. So head high. And I think get ready to come back in 2023 and have another crack. What do you say?
Yeah, I'll definitely come in and have another crack. I mean, to be honest, start of the season, I was just kind of, just wanted to see where I just ended up in the series. It was only really after round 3 that I thought, oh, okay, I'm within a chance of this. Obviously, mistakes during the year obviously kind of hindered my progress, which ultimately meant that the title fight swung quite a ways throughout the season. But yeah, no, it was obviously sometimes annoying racing Mez, given the fact that we were a title fight, but no, it's nothing personal with him, just sort of being the competitive guy I am.
Yeah, indeed. Well, before we let you go, Tyson, who do you want to thank tonight for the championship result?
Obviously SimSpeed for putting on the broadcast. They do a great job of showing off every series they do. Yeah, AOG, you and Tom run the series really well. And then also Drop Bear for picking me up halfway through the season. And all their sponsors, Incozy Engineering Solutions, Highbird Racing Simulations, Revolution Race Gear, Slam Blackhawk Media, and hopefully to add a little bit of donation drive for Beyond Blue as well.
Sure will indeed. I think, yeah, good job on the championship result, mate. Thanks for talking with us, and look forward to seeing you again next year. And that leaves us with just one final driver to chat to, the man of the hour when it came down to the Mano and Mano fight here. Simon Zomo, you weren't too confident tonight coming into it with how you were feeling about preparation, but you did just exactly what you needed to do out on the road, man. Congratulations, the Season 6 Pro-Am class champion here at Aussie Online Gaming, for the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup.
Still feels a bit weird hearing that, but no, obviously commiserations to Tyson. That's I said to him in the chat just before. That's not how I wanted to win it. I wanted that battle at the end between us. And yeah, it's just yeah, unfortunately is what it is. But no, it's been an amazing fight all season. Tyson has not let me go at all. Same with me. I've tried to push him the entire way. The championship went backwards and forwards so many times, and even when I thought I'd lost it, somehow it managed to swing back the other way. So, but nah, it's just, yeah, it's been so many times I've come close to winning this thing, but I've never sort of been able to pull it off. So I've never taken it to the final round and actually had a chance at winning it. So to finally pull it off, just yeah, it's a big relief to finally do it.
Yeah, well, the fact that I was making notes about this on social media, 330 points up for grabs for anyone who get an outright clean sweep. We've done this 19 times this year already, and there were just 24 points coming into it between you and Tyson. That's how close and how much back and forth has been between you two. Obviously, you did the job. Started just ahead of him there on the grid. They're sharing that fifth row tonight off the start, and then able to just stay in front, or I believe you're in front of him the entire race, if I'm not mistaken. One green flag running. Maybe a small moment where you traded places.
No, he got me off the line. I completely bogged the start and spun the rear wheels up, so I just went nowhere. But so I ended up just being behind him that entire up to the pit stop. I was basically just behind him the whole time. So, which wasn't bad. That was kind of the plan we were going for. So, yeah. Obviously tonight I big thanks to Bo, who was in my year tonight, spotting for me, and basically, yeah, that was just our goal, was just stay behind him. Don't try and pass him, just stay behind him, save fuel, wait for the pit stops to play out. Pit stop didn't go our way, unfortunately, and yeah, obviously what happened in the end there, but I still had plenty of pace in the car. Like, even once we sort of got a bit of fresh air, the pace of the car just came, and we just started tearing away from everyone. So yeah, the pace was in the car. I thought we would have, it's kind of why I wanted the fight, because I thought we had the pace on him, we would have been able to get him, but yeah, unfortunately we were sort of robbed of that battle.
Indeed, and well, to be honest, we almost got the battle again late on there with a moment for Cam dancing behind you with Sebastian Flock. It almost tripped you up just here at Dandenong Road, like we saw with Tyson earlier on in the race. That incident you've pointed out there, did that get your heart racing there for a moment when Cam's running a bit too hot there and he's got Seb thankfully and just missed you?
I didn't notice it. It wasn't until Bo said something that I actually noticed it. I was too busy trying to get my apex, trying to find my apex. Yeah, it wasn't until I sort of come off the corner that I was like, I look at Bo said something. I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh geez, that was a bit close. And then Seb, same thing. I think Cam and Seb got together and the same thing nearly happened there as well. So I was like, come on boys, we're meant to be mates. You're not meant to be taking me out when I'm battling for a championship right here. So no, it was all good. It's just a bit of a laughter in the race.
Fair enough, indeed. Well, P6 outright on the road, it puts you P2 in class for the night as well. But indeed, the P1 for the season title is the one that matters the most there, and well, means we'll be seeing you up in the pro class should you return for season number 7. Before I let you go, Mez, who do you want to thank tonight for the result and the season result as well?
Obviously, big thanks to Bo Arbit. He helped me basically the entire season, and obviously tonight. So big thanks to him for everything he's done. Big thanks to all the 9-5 boys for bringing me on during the season. They've been amazing, especially Hayden Sell. He came on as my teammate for a fair bit of it, and his help, just having someone to run with and just to get pushed along with was amazing to have. So big thanks to Hayden, and obviously Kyle, my other teammate as well, for coming in and giving me someone to race with. Big thanks to our sponsors, Racecraft, Turn In Race Apparel, RSW Graphics, Racing Ears, Cutting Edge Tracks, FU Suicide, and RB Media. And big thanks to not only you guys for putting the broadcast on, but big thanks to Dan and Tom at AOG for putting on this season. So obviously, we all come back and race these things. They're amazing cars, and this series is so well run. So no doubt, obviously won't be winning a championship next season, but I'll definitely be back to give it a crack in pro.
Well, glad to hear that. And well, I guess it might take a bit of work, but look, you never know. We'll see what happens in 2023.
Maybe if Bo takes out Bowler a bit more, I might have a chance. We'll see how that goes.
There we go. Simon Zomo, championship winner in the Pro-Am class here in season number 6 of the Aussie Online Gaming Porsche Cup. And with that done, that's going to have to wrap things up tonight, because that's been a bumper list of interviews tonight. Jay, apologies to those who we couldn't speak to tonight, including Seb Flock, teammate to Matt Bowler for the season here in teams. Jay, given we had several ERT drivers at the end of that one there, they ended up wrapping up the team's championship quite early, as Bowler sort of alluded to the departure of Sam Blacklock from the series due to some hardware issues for him, meaning that there was no team close enough to compete on points. Well, it ended up being, I think, at least by the time we got to Winton, 3 rounds back. And unfortunately, that means that one sort of also ended early. But look, 20 rounds of racing, 46 championship races, Jay, across the course of 2020, and we finally get to say it's over and done. And now turn our eyes forward to season 7, which I can say for certain will not be starting until February 2023 at the very earliest.
Look, I'm disappointed to hear that, but in the same breath, I'm like, yeah, thank you. We need a little bit of a break, but it has been an awesome season throughout. Apologies, we did miss a couple of races due to some personal and technical issues, but every single race that we've covered throughout the season has been absolutely brilliant. So big thank you to you, Dan. Big thank you to Tom, to everyone else who helps out behind the scenes, to Reese and Nick, as I said earlier, for helping out in comms as well. It's been absolutely brilliant, and I've loved being a part of it, and cannot wait for next season. But racing doesn't end on SimSpeed, does it? We've got plenty more still to come.
We sure do indeed, and it all resumes tomorrow night, 9:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. It's the return of the Southern Cross Esports, the Summer Series for 2022 and 2023. That gets underway at Fuji International Speedway in the Porsche 911 RSR GTE class car there. The Oz Pro-Am Sim Series returns on Thursday night and also returns to GT3 machinery at the newly updated Indianapolis Road Course, the 4th round of 10 for that season. I'll be back behind the wheel for a change there, 7:45 p.m. AEDT with Pass 2 on Thursday night. Turn my attention at Aussie Online Gaming to GT Open Australia, now GT3 Teams Series. That returns for round number 3 at the Nürburgring 24-hour configuration for a 12-lap endurance race on 7:30 p.m. AEDT again Sunday night, the 30th of October. We return then to the dirt with the Oceanic Dirt Sim Events 360 Australian 360 title, scheduled for next Wednesday, the 2nd of November. And then we get into the V8 Scops for the weekend with supports on Friday night, also here at Sandown International Motor Raceway with the V8s and the 2-litre Tourers. Small break for the major series, the championship finale at Homestead Miami Speedway, just to get in between the Scops supports and the main game Scops racing on Sunday. V8 Scops Championship, the Sandown split sprint, 2 125k races for the main game, plus a third 125k race, just one of them though, for Super Split 2. That's Sunday the 6th of November, and then the final round of the Aussie Car Formula 4 Series heads to Bathurst on Monday the 7th of November. We are most certainly going to be busy here, between commentary and driving for me, and a whole lot of production for you over there.
Yeah, lots of prep work coming up for the next few days, but looking forward to the next few weeks of broadcasting, wrapping up some series, starting some new, like the Summer Series tomorrow night, but the racing work coming up over the next few weeks is going to be incredible. Lots of Aussie tracks in amongst it as well, which is always cool to see, and cool to have our first AOG broadcast race here at Sandown, and I think it was absolutely thrilling. Cannot wait for the next one when we have it here back again next season.
Yep, I look forward to putting that schedule together, and drivers, make sure you keep your eyes on the Discord. We'll make sure we're getting some feedback off you to sort of get early plans underway. But for the final time this season, I just want to say big thanks to Tom Wilkinson. He was the one keeping race control together tonight, with me pulling double duty here in the comms box. Without him, this series doesn't have the live race control that it does between him and I. So a big thank you to him first of all, real quickly. To Matt Bowler of Bowler Media, who has stepped up as one of our photography partners here at Aussie Online Gaming. A massive thank you to him for the work we've had and the photos we've had since about the middle of the European tracks. Really can't thank him enough. To also Corey and Sam at Sam Blacklock Media, who did get us some photos from the first half of the season. Look, a big thanks to them. Sam in particular being a long-time supporter of us at Aussie Online Gaming, and I hope we can keep that going in the coming months and years in conjunction with Bowler Media as well. And then last but not least, Jay, to you as producer for this series from the get-go, as well as indeed Reese, Nick, this season, being able to provide comms. As I said, it's one thing to have this racing done for the drivers and doing all the admin work, but it's one thing to be able to then share it on broadcast afterwards, and really helps round out the package. I definitely makes everything great, and I really look forward and enjoy being able to watch these things back afterwards, and can't wait to be able to bring it back next year. Hopefully come up with a couple of different things to reinvigorate in a few areas as well, and hopefully keep making this series bigger and better in terms of the action on track and the spectacle around it as well.
Cannot wait for season 7 to come around, and as you said too, make sure you look at all the socials. We'll also share it on the SimSpeed socials when we get the prize stuff sorted in the next few days and weeks. It's going to be very, very cool to announce. But yeah, Dan, Tom, thanks for having us in the season. We'll be back for season 7 as well. I think we better wrap it up though, because we've been rambling for a little while, and it's getting late. So a big thank you to everyone who's watched throughout the season as well. We thank everyone for all the support of us and of the series that we cover. Make sure you join us tomorrow night, Porsche Racing once again. Different style of Porsches, but still Porsches at Fuji, and some of the same drivers you're going to see in this series as well. Tyson Broad will be back to try and steal the championship away, as he almost won the championship in Southern Cross Esports last season, so he'll be trying to win that. And fingers crossed we'll have Reese back tomorrow night as well. Dan, thank you for jumping in. We'll wrap it up. Say thank you for watching. We'll be back in 2023 for the AOG Porsche Cup.
You bet we will.
This is fantastic. This is GT Racing right now.
He's got tracks and he's going around the outside of both of them. Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God! Oh, big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get full.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?